What's up, guys? Welcome back to the Colecast. This is episode 95. We are
85. We're so close.
We are going to be posting this on a Wednesday at 9 a.m. And if we are available, we will be live in the chat to answer questions. So keep in mind, guys, we are doing premieres on the YouTube for the Colecast now. So if we post it, we, being me and Evan, are going to try to be available those mornings to jump into the chat and talk to you. This does come with the premise of everybody here wears a lot of hats. So some Wednesdays I might not be available. Some Wednesdays Evan might not be available. There are going to be Wednesdays where neither of us will be available, and it's because we're working together on a video for something. So we're going to try to maintain that, but jump into the chat. It's less important that you talk to us, and it's more important that you talk to each other anyway. So start a conversation, say good morning. You see somebody else, say good morning, ask them how they're doing. What are they working on in the shop? How do they feel about the dumb ideas that I'm talking about on here that are wholly false? So keep that in mind, guys. Coming up, we have CBA. Again, you guys are probably going to get tired of hearing about this, but it's so worth it. To our West Coast listeners, please come out, hang out with us. It is a great event. It is 3 days long. Most of the demonstrators do a full 3-day project. This is not our demos are very good at 2-hour quick. They're going to teach 1 or 2 techniques. The demonstrators out at CBA teach full projects and give you a ton of insight. And they have great demonstrators every year. So Evan remembered to turn the music off this week. So come out to that. Also, Abana is announced. It will be the week before Thanksgiving in, I believe it's Bensonville, Arkansas. It is the home of Walmart. They, from what I'm told, this is not insider information. This is rumor, but they chose that because it is so well built out for travel and for stay. Because if you sell something at Walmart, whoever owns the company has to come and visit with the Walmart sales team, and they don't send the Walmart sales team to you. You have to go to them. So they have a ton of hotels, campgrounds, some sites to see. And yeah, you'll see the 22 nonstop destinations. That's specifically because business hubs have to visit Walmart often. So we're looking forward to that. We're going to be out there, hopefully get some machines out there, potentially to sell, but Bentonville. Sorry, not Bensonville, Bentonville. Oh, my buddy Benton started a city. So I think that's all we've really got. Keep in mind, guys, we find out about shows like a month, 2 weeks before sometimes. So if you want to stay connected, jump on Instagram. We'll always post what we're going to, what we're doing. And we want you to be involved. We want you to come out and see us, hang out with us. I want to buy you a Coke from the food truck at the event. Let me know. If you come to an event, that is a now standard practice for Coal Iron Works. If you come to the event and you tell me, Francis, I listened to the podcast, I will buy you a Coke. It's a great deal. Listening's free. Coke is not.
I don't understand why you do the things to yourself that you do.
Okay, so, all right, I'll talk to you about that. The very last update is, guys, the pricing on the school's website is forever. Okay, you did not miss a chance at a sale. We updated our pricing structure because we felt like we were not offering the value at $100 that we could at $40. The classes themselves definitely contain $100 worth of value, but we don't shoot the school. We try to be a connection and a resource directly to the community. We have to make a little bit of money off our presses. We have to be able to pay people's wages. Those classes are already paid for. We've already spent the money traveling to shoot them, paying Evan to edit them. So once they're done, they're done. And I want that information out to people. So we've lowered our prices on that. We've seen a huge uptick in sales, sorry. And I am blown away by that. If even if it was a sale, this probably would have convinced me to keep it forever, because this has been an awesome response. You guys are fantastic. But I just want to reiterate, that is a forever thing. We're not going to cancel that in 2 weeks or anything like that. So once you pay for it, you have lifetime access to it. And if you see another class that you're like, oh, I'll save up $20 for that or $40 for that in a couple weeks, you will have that ability. You don't have to get it now. This is not a quick grab. So I'm kind of sideways here. So getting back to the Coke thing, everybody welcome Chris Yackee. We'll get into it. Is.
My name is Chris Yackee.
Okay.
Yeah.
I'm
sorry.
I've been speaking English my whole life. Brother.
I've been having my name mispronounced for most of my life.
It's okay. My last name in my first 3 or 4 years of elementary school was spelled incorrectly. Yeah. But I had an older brother and sister who never had that issue.
Welcome,
in the exact
Francis
same.
Stromboli.
It was Stoll, Schroll with no T, and then the year before they fixed it was Saint Roll.
That's very fun.
.ROLE. So, so getting back to the Coke thing.
Yeah.
When we first started doing the podcast, and Evan can attest to this, I said, dude, I listen to podcasts all the time. I love podcasts. I don't want to be a part of it though.
Yeah.
I hate hearing myself talk.
Yeah,
I'm kind of an idiot, especially in this realm. Like, I get it. I build presses. I manage this company, but there are so much more informed people here that can have a better perspective on things. I don't want to do it. And they were like, no, that's fine. Nathan's going to do it. And the next week they were like, by the way, you're going to interview Nathan and Dave this week, just so that we can do the history of coal.
Yeah.
Okay. That's fine.
That's fine. They really snuck it in on you.
Here we are 60 episodes later, and I've not been in 5 of them. So I've kind of become the de facto host when it was not only not the plan, but I, for the first 2 months, vehemently said I didn't want to do it.
Yeah.
But now, Evan's putting his headphones on. He's gonna argue with me. But now I have found that I do like it.
Yeah.
I do like, because it creates conversation online. I've seen great conversations. It's also really funny when I say something stupid and people correct me. One that sticks out is I said that blacksmithing is a lot like living in Australia. It's really hot and everything's trying to kill you. And a lot of people were like, yeah, this is the most important thing that you can tell to a young blacksmith. And other people were like, no, you just got to know what you're doing. You can't live in fear, you little whiny baby. Until an Australian blacksmith was like, I live in Australia and I'm a blacksmith. This can't be closer to the truth.
I can't wait to clip this and double down on that again.
It's just, yes, I agree. I understand that other guy's perspective. You can't live in fear. You can't let that run what you're doing, but you have to be aware. You have to know that there's danger involved.
There's a certain there's a certain capability and humility that comes with knowing that, hey, this thing is going to hurt me if I mess up. So I need to be very, very sure of the way that I'm interacting with it. It's the same thing with heavy machinery, anything in a machine shop.
Drywall.
Yeah. Well, I mean.
I like that you tried to help. You were like, no, you're right. There's a confidence that comes from, I tamed 2,000 degree steel. I conquered it.
And it's also a respect thing. It carries over into other aspects. I feel like I am better equipped to walk through a machine shop because I've worked around, several dozens of ton farming equipment that could just squish me.
Yeah.
And I'm more capable. I'm not uneasy walking around it, but I'm also not over comfortable.
You're not just gonna jump in elbows deep. Yeah. So what I'm trying to say is I didn't want to do this.
Yeah.
But, and I think I've mentioned this before, I got really weirded out originally when people would come up to me and they'd be like, hey, Francis, how's the cat? Hey, how's this? And I've intentionally stopped talking as much about my girlfriend because she's very private.
Yeah.
So people would come up and they'd be like, oh, how's your girlfriend? She's great. But also it would infuriate her to know that people know she exists.
Yeah.
So
I
but
also hate people knowing I exist.
I've gotten more and more used to the idea of people coming up and saying, "Hey, I listen to the podcast."
Yeah.
And it's specifically, not to get emotional, but specifically guys coming up to me and saying things like, "Hey, you guys really inspired me to go out and do this thing that I had been putting off for a while." And that started with like, make a hammer instead of just little ornamental doodads and candle holders and stuff like that. I made my first hammer. I conquered a billet as opposed to bar stock.
Yeah.
And then I've talked to a couple guys that are like, "Hey, your guys' transparency in what you do and how you operate on ethics and admitting when you fail and talking about your faith, like those things have helped me in my personal life in a lot of ways." So it started out as this, like, I don't want to do this.
This is an obligation.
I'm an idiot. I don't. Yeah, exactly. To being like, oh man, like for an hour or two a week, I sit down and do this. And there's real life consequences. And so far, those consequences are good.
Yeah.
You know, I've not had somebody come to me and say, "Hey, Francis, you were explaining how to punch an eye and I cut my finger off," or, you know, anything like that. So I'm starting to see the benefit of what we're doing on a much larger scale. When we started, it was just kind of a cool thing we could do and make people feel connected to the company. But we're seeing people connect to each other, and we're seeing people get a return on value that for us to have the ability to do this has been beneficial to people. And so now I enjoy it because I know that somebody's potentially going to get a benefit out of what we say, like having people like Nate Howard on and Jeffrey Dotterman.
Jeff friggin' Dotterman. What a man. The
Those
sweetest human being on the planet.
Those episodes, though, are the ones where, and some of them with me and Nathan are the ones that people will bring up and say, like, "Dude, I've thought that for 20 years and I've never heard anybody else say it, so I felt like I was stupid." Like talking about living in a community and walking over to your neighbor and looking stupid for 20 minutes while you introduce yourself and try to get to know somebody.
Yeah.
"Hey, I've lived next to you for 10 years. I'm so sorry I've never done this. My name's Francis.
Yeah.
I work in a blacksmith shop.
Yeah.
I build machines. What can I do to help you out in your daily life?"
Sure.
You know, if I live next to an elderly lady,
Yeah.
can I get the snow out of your driveway? Do you have weed eating or, you know, I've got a lawnmower. I'm already doing 5 acres, 4.5 acres. Can I get your 3? You know?
Yeah.
So we've seen the benefit. I like it, but I did not at the beginning.
Yeah.
So we'll move on. I don't want to talk about myself. I want to talk about you,
Why?
Christopher Yackee.
Thanks, bud.
Yackee.
We're cutting this part out, right?
No cuts, no edits. We've even said bad words on here before because we're honest, we're transparent.
Yes, sir.
Try not to say bad words though.
Okay.
So
Pretend my mom's in the room.
Chris, what got you introduced to blacksmithing?
I went to college at Ohio State University, the Ohio State University, if you want to be proper. And I took a degree in agricultural operations, which it's called agricultural systems management, but it's basically an ag ops degree. The coursework was pretty broad, and part of that coursework was a intro to metal fab in agriculture. The instructor for that class was heavily involved in SOFA, and he thought it was important and fundamental to like your understanding of metal on a whole that you know how to forge. So 2 of my projects in that class were forging projects. And that was it. And then I didn't touch it again for about 2 years. And then I did an internship in college, and I hated it because working for other people can be challenging. So I thought
Tell me about it.
Yeah, and I grew up on a farm, so I was like, it's fine. I'll go back to the farm, and in my off hours, you know, instead of getting a second job or anything like that, I'll homestead, and that'll be the way I provide value for myself, right? And you start getting into like the homesteading videos on YouTube and stuff like that.
They get weird fast.
They get weird fast, but like there were some very basic like forging videos. I was like, oh, this is pretty cool. Like it might be kind of fun to forge my own knife at home, you know, like that might be neat. Not a knife guy, but
Let's make that clear. I'm not
yeah,
one of them.
Yeah, those guys are very particular.
One of them idiots.
And so I was like, oh, I'll go talk to that professor again. Turns out when you paid fees for that class, it also gets you into every open forge he does, because the second project he had us do was a cold chisel out of number 6 rebar, which is 3/4 inch, and the rebar was made out of re-rolled train car axles. And all of these kids had never swung a hammer this way before. So it took most people the entire semester to get it forged to shape, and then you still had to do heat treat, which you harden it and then you grind, and it takes forever. And you're using like a 2x48 worn out belt because there's 30 other kids in this class, and there's 4 different sections of the class. So there's 120 kids all making cold chisels at the same time, and the belts are war. So there's open forges for that class, where you could come in, work on your projects, do your welding, whatever. You pay fees for that class, you can just come to those. There's forges running the entire time. He's got the natural gas forges like Kurt's got at his place that are just like open, right? Yeah. You just come, you just work. So he's like, come on a Thursday, we'll teach. And he's like, if you're interested, there's a sofa meeting on this weekend. You can hop in my car along with my TA, and we'll go to the sofa meeting. So I went to the sofa meeting. I was like, this is pretty
What's this guy's name? Give him a shout out. This
Larry Heckendorn.
Larry Heckendorn.
He is a very intelligent man. He's pretty old.
I was gonna say, it sounds like there's a butt coming.
I'd seen him every year at SOFA. This year I went looking for him, and I found one of the other faculty from Ohio State that goes to SOFA pretty regularly, and he's Larry's in a memory home now. Oh, okay. So he's not around to get the shout out. Yeah. But he was a very, very important person in my exposure to forging and to getting me started. Because from there I was able to find our own club, get involved at a local level there.
I think it's still important to give people those shout outs. Like
Larry's a brilliant guy.
John Zile and Clifton Ralph and the guys that we talk about in the IBA, they're physically not around anymore. Yeah. And this is going to get cheesy, and I swear I'm not trying to get emotional on this podcast. I know I just went on a rant about, us being super awesome and helpful in your life, which feels dirty. But I had heard it before, but after going through some things that I went through a couple months ago, somebody told us, you die twice. Yeah. You die when you die, and then you die the last time your name is said. Yeah. And I actually think it's from a Disney movie, but
that's Coco.
Yeah,
that's
Pixar.
Yep.
Yeah, I had mentioned this to somebody else, and they were like, "Dude, that's from a cartoon."
It's Dia de los Muertos.
But it's so true. Like those pillars in our communities, those people that got us into it. Yeah. It's important to acknowledge them so that, like Clifton Ralph, you can hardly find anything about. If it weren't for Paul and Rob and Corbin and Kevin and the guys that go out to Kurt would probably not have anything on the internet. Yeah. But, in 50 years, when Kurt does pass away, he will have historians. Kurt's going to live forever. Yeah. But he will have historians essentially that work side by side with him. Yeah. Not only that can tell you, hey, this is the way Kurt taught me and make essentially curriculum out of it. Yep. But they can also tell you this was the type of person he was. Because when we talk about these people, he didn't just get you into forging because he was forging. It's because there was some aspect of what he was doing that you sought after, whether it be, even if it's just cool factor. But a lot of times, like for me, like Kurt is a moral standard. There is black and white, and he tries to stay in the white the best he can. Yep. And I really respect him for that. Yeah. There's other guys, Paul and Rob are the same way. It's like those dudes are black and white. There is right and wrong, and I'm going to do it right. Yep. You take care of the people around you. You're giving. You're loving. You're loving in your own way. Not everybody's a hugger. Not everybody's a crier. But I think it's important to give those shout outs. So you can continue with your story, but make sure that you talk about him a lot. Yeah,
I try to because he wasn't. He was in the Army Corps of Engineers during Vietnam. He's very, very smart. He's been doing metalwork basically. He started in Boy Scouts. I mean, he had been doing it his entire life, and it was impressed upon him enough that this was something that people should know how to do. That he made, 150 students every semester do at least a little bit of it. And a lot of the guys were like infuriated by it because Larry's very dry. Like you wouldn't hear him tell a joke, and then about 30 minutes later you'd be like, oh, that was actually very funny.
Yeah.
And but they called him Scary Larry.
Oh, okay.
Because it's also a welding shop in a college.
You got to be.
You got to be. There are rules.
Yeah.
And college kids are famous for following rules, especially farm kids, because they definitely don't do any of this at home.
First time in the city.
Yeah, they definitely don't do any of this at home, and they definitely don't have their own ways of doing this at home that are not safe.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
I thought you were leaning more into like I also grew up in a small town and friends going to college. It was like every weekend you heard about, oh, they got a DUI and this person got arrested for
other way. They're used to being very capable in their own context.
Okay,
and
gotcha.
Like now you're in an education context, and like it's someone else's shop. But yeah, and there's a growing moment there, right? Because everyone's like 18 to 22 and learning how to be a person.
Right. Yeah. Frontal cortex.
Yeah. So that's Larry. Larry's fantastic. Big part of SOFA for a while. Great guy. I managed to find my local club through them, because Ohio's weird. Like Indiana has IBA, right, and a big, nice statewide org.
Yeah, we operate via satellites.
Yep,
Michigan. You guys just have a lot of different organizations that are friendly with each other.
Kinda, yeah. Like Indiana's got satellites that meet. You can go to an IBA meeting any weekend of the month you want. MABA has a statewide org. They have one gathering a month somewhere in the state, and they do the whole state, through the Lower Peninsula and the Upper Peninsula. Ohio's got 3 different groups, and they're friendly. They're historically friendly. They don't really talk to each other. Yeah. There's like 3 clubs and like 3 schools in Ohio. So it's much more regional in Ohio. But so they pointed me up there because I live 2 hours from Troy, and it's kind of a jog. I mean, I would go. I would absolutely go once a month if it was the only option available to me. Yeah. But I'm lucky enough that is not the case.
So what is your organization? You do this thing where you talk about things without naming them. We're all about shout outs.
Sorry.
You are our #1 listener. You know.
That's not true. I can't be. I didn't get that statistic for my Spotify Wrapped this year.
We don't have enough plays on Spotify to trigger statistics, brother.
So I'm a member of Northwest Ohio Blacksmiths, the Knobs. I'm currently secretary of that organization. Oh, he's got it up. Oh, that's great. Yeah, that's our website. We have all of our.
We have that same picture hanging somewhere in this building.
Yeah, I believe it.
That one. Yeah.
I'm actually kind of surprised you found that. It's not a intuitive website. So we kind of hang out on right along 24 in Ohio. Most of our meetings follow that highway back and forth from Toledo to Defiance. Yeah, we started, I think we're founded in like 86, 85, somewhere in the late 80s.
Oh, so you guys are babies.
Something like that. I think there was originally an Ohio Blacksmithing Association that split, I think.
What I was told from one of the guys that was an original member of SOFA, and he was eventually like the 3rd president. And this could all be, this happened late night at SOFA. Let's just say this story could be misconstrued.
Sure. Yeah.
With everything going on around me and being in the sun since 7 o'clock in the morning. But from what I was told, there was a like steam engine hit and miss kind of farm equipment group.
Yeah.
And a few of the guys that just did blacksmithing joined that because they also did some blacksmithing in their groups.
Yeah.
And then one of the guys who was like a renowned blacksmith in the area said, well, we're just going to start Southern Ohio.
Yeah.
And we're going to do this. And he kind of kicked it off.
Yeah.
And went to people and he said, you're the treasurer. Nice. You're the vice president. And
nice.
they were like, what? And that's how it started.
People.
A dude who was kind of the Kurt of their community, or like their Bill Banky, was like, hey, we're doing this and you don't have a choice.
Yeah.
But they split off from like just a a dude club.
Yep.
That was kind of farm and agriculture based.
And that's the way I've looked at a lot of our old scrapbooks and stuff that we've got around, because we do kind of have like a little club library. It's not super well organized because like we're not like Sofa. We don't have a set meeting place. So there's no. It's just whoever wants to hold this stuff for right now.
Oh, gotcha.
Like I don't have a place to put relics and like a library and stuff like that for the club. It's just wherever this goes, it goes.
Yeah, you don't have one dude who has volunteered to be the keeper.
Yeah. We had a librarian and a newsletter writer at one point, but it's like anything now, you're starting to have trouble getting people to like volunteer for stuff and dedicate time to it. Because
life is
busy.
now, and it's only getting busier.
Yes, yeah. But so like this used to be. I look back in the old scrapbooks and everything, and like this used to be like some people have a bowling league, or some people have like a church Wednesday night gathering and whatever. This was their like extra social space. They brought their families and their wives and their kids and everything, and raised them.
It's called a third place.
Yes, yeah. I'm familiar
we've
with
talked
the
about it
concept.
on this podcast a couple times.
Yep.
We've lost third places. Bring them back.
Yeah, we're working on it.
Yeah.
And so that's kind of tapered off for a while, but we're pretty consistent with where our meetings have been the last couple of years. We have meetings on the odd months of the year. We have open forages on the even months of the year. It's always the third Saturday of the month. We're dedicated. If you can read it on our website, we're dedicated to the preservation and passing on of blacksmithing as an art and as a practice. Really trying to get Jeff Dotterman to show up to a meeting.
Jeff Dotterman, not if you're listening, when you listen
listen to this. Yeah.
I triple dog dare you.
Yeah, attaboy.
Triple dog dare you. You have to go.
But yeah, so we're hosting meetings out of people's home forages. People like it's a blacksmithing organization. You know, we do demonstrations, we do business meetings. Most of our business meetings are centered around our planning for next year's Hammerin', which is always a really big event. We get a lot of people that only come to that event. It's historically in May. It's in May again this year. Last year we goofed and we doubled up with IBA, and that was goofy.
Yeah, not allowed.
Yeah,
because there's a lot of crossover. I don't know why it didn't dawn on me until 3 or 4 years ago. But you can be a member of multiple organizations.
Yeah. I threw money at the IBA this year.
Yeah, we have a lot of people that go up to NOB from IBA, and we have a lot of NOB guys that come down to IBA.
Yeah.
We have MABA guys, we have Pontiac guys, we have SOFA's probably our closest connection.
Yeah. We have a ton of Michigan guys. We are very closely linked with the Michigan group.
I would love to get, if you are part of Appalachia,
like the Kentucky.
Yeah, I think it's called like the
AACB or something like that. Yeah.
Yeah, Appalachia Central something blacksmith.
Yep.
Yeah. I would love, because that's Kentucky. That's the next state down. You know, that's Tennessee. That's they did their conference last year in Murfreesboro.
Yep.
The same week, me and my girl, I'm not supposed to talk about her. The same week I was on vacation.
There you go.
In Murfreesboro, and I was told that we couldn't go because I wasn't at work. And I there's still not a connection in her mind between I get to do this and get paid, which is awesome, but I would be doing this if I wasn't paid, you know?
Yeah.
So yeah, I would love to get connected with those guys. What is there? So Indiana has kind of gotten known as the
tool making,
and it's fundamentals.
Yep.
Indiana really harps on fundamentals and doing it right, starting out of the gate. Is there something that NOB is known for?
Known, like the club as a whole, not necessarily. We have a couple really good knife makers. Butch Sheely from Grand Rapids, he demoed at SOFA last year. He was one of the founding members of our club. There's a couple other guys that are pretty good with knives. A lot of our folks are responsible for doing demos, like historic demos at local fairs and stuff like that. So my mentor that I work with, so we have the second biggest county fair in Fulton County in the state. And actually most of the way that I learned and most of the way that I developed as
I thought you were going to say that you had the second biggest county fair in the county. And it's like,
I almost did. Yeah.
Why
really
are
close.
there multiple county fairs in the one county? Like, There was a split 3 years ago, and they were like, "Yeah, we don't want to do it that way."
You got to separate the Lutherans from the Mennonites. It's right down the middle.
There you go.
Yeah, the Westerns. Yeah.
Yeah.
So, at our fair, the Fulton County Historical Society has a blacksmith shop that was donated. It was a historic blacksmith shop out in Delta, Ohio. It was picked up, brought to Wasion, dropped at the fairgrounds, and there's 2 forges in there. And me and my mentor, I think she's okay with me calling her that. Her name is Carolyn Powers. She's fantastic. She and I have worked in there. She's been in there like 20 years. I've been in there since 2017, and that's mostly like you show up, you do historic stuff, you do tchotchke stuff, you do little make and take stuff.
She does like initials and stuff, right? That's what she's known for.
She's incredible at writing.
Yeah,
with steel. So she was a seamstress, and then she was a prison guard. So blacksmithing was kind of like her
whatever pays the bills.
Yeah, I mean that was her stress relief. But she's an incredible artist, and so I've seen her do 2D renditions of like herons and fish and stuff. Because her home shop is in a historic mill in Grand Rapids, Ohio, and so that's part of the Toledo Parks Department. And shout out Oak Openings Metro Park in Swanton area, Ohio. They have these beautiful like tree houses and stuff, and so she got commissioned to do all of the drawer pulls for these like Airbnbs you can rent in these tree houses, and she got hired to do the door pulls. That like she made 4 door pulls last year. That's 2 great blue herons, a trout, and something else that I can't remember off the top of my head. But she's really good at making like signage, stuff like that. Just incredible work, and it's all freehand. There's hardly a jig in her shop. But most of our stuff, most of the older guys are big in like the historical reenactment stuff. Like dress up in buckskin and pipe tomahawks and stuff like that.
So when I was little,
Yeah.
my babysitter, my babysitter was a good family friend, and they did rendezvous.
Okay.
So that was probably one of my first experiences with blacksmithing.
Yeah.
And I can't tell you whether the guy was just heating something up and beating on it, or if he was making something really cool. Because at the time, they shot black powder blanks, and I wanted to be next to the pews.
Yeah.
But is it kind of like that? The guys that are in the group are kind of more into that.
There was most of the older generation guys. That was a big outlet for them. They would go and do that, and they would make their own reenactment gear. Butch I think is fairly involved in that stuff still. One of our gentlemen that passed away in 2024 was really big into reenactment stuff. He would do the whole kit and caboodle. I mean, dressed in from head to toe and
show up on a horse because they didn't have cars. Yeah.
But so like Grand Rapids, Ohio has this festival every year called the Apple Butter Fest, and it's just on a Sunday, which is wild to me. They close down the whole town, and it's a zoo for one day. In our Butch used to be the blacksmith for that event, I think, either Butch or Roger. But now they get older, and it's less worth their time to go and do that because it's very strenuous.
It's less rewarding. Them.
Yeah. So one of our other guys, my buddy Chris Thomas, who is our current president for the club, he goes out and he is the blacksmith demonstrator for that event. He has to go and put on period correct clothing and do all that. And so we get a lot of people that do like the structural, architectural. We don't have a lot of tool makers. There's a couple knife makers, but there also hasn't been a lot of like capability for that kind of thing. Most of our guys don't have the big equipment. They don't have the presses necessarily. If they have a power hammer, it's a 25 or 50 pound little giant. Like that just wasn't in their
deck of cards.
Yep. Yeah. So there's a lot of really cool stuff laying around from the guy that was in the Fulton County shop before me. He used to make wizards. I mean, you still see those around Soph every once in a while. You have a tool handle that's a wizard, and they're just incredible. It's just little decorative stuff, animal shapes, stuff like that. Very like I have a book from I think Francis Whitaker. That's very there's a whole section just on animal shapes.
Yeah.
So that's I think about this a little bit because right if you go to the IBA you want to talk about like the main influences of each group, right? I asked this question very clumsily to Leah Aripach over the hammer and coal, and I don't think I conveyed it correctly, but I was trying to ask like who do you feel like is like the like inspiration for your club's style of your organization, because she's CBA, right? Yeah. For your club's like style of foraging, right? Because IBA, you've got Clifton Ralph, you've got the industrial guys, you've got Brian Brazil, you've got a lot of like the tool making stuff going on, the fundamentals. I feel like in Knob, in Maba, you get a lot of the Francis Whitaker. So in that vein, you get like the Samuel Yellen, and yeah. So it's just very different where you draw.
Yeah, and I've spent enough time out at CBA that I can tell you, just in my little bit of experience, I'd say a lot of time, but
yeah.
Toby Hickman is huge.
Yeah.
So they all love their Striker 88s and their Striker 55s. John McClellan is huge. He's still around and working, and he does a lot of he doesn't do like conservative-y stuff, but he'll like when a university wants a nice gate that looks like it maybe is older than it is. He does stuff like that. He's also a member of NOMA, so gates, railings, just practical stuff.
Yep.
Guys like that. There's also a huge art influence. Michael Bondi's out there.
Yeah.
I know Jeff Funk is a huge influence out there. I know he's not in California, but he's out there, and they're all very close with him. So California is a little bit of a weird one because you have like industrial gates and railings to sculpture work to very cutting edge technology. Leah's welding and grinding just as much as she's forging. Right. I don't want to give people in California more to brag about, but their group is incredibly diverse.
Yeah.
And Mark Asbury, he's officially not English anymore. That dude is from California.
Nice.
I mean, he wrote their curriculum, which has now become pretty much a Bannis curriculum, or I think it might actually just be a Bannis curriculum. I don't think they modified it at all. But he's very, when he teaches, it's very blow by blow, and it's similar. It's not the same as Brian's, but it's similar to Brian Brazil. And everything has a reason. Every strike has a purpose.
Yep. There's
no wasted movement. And slow is accurate. Accurate works.
Yeah.
So, they're an incredible group, but they don't have one influence.
Right. And it's tricky because before I knew you guys, I didn't know anybody else. Like I had been to Sofa a couple of times, but I didn't know anybody else. I didn't even really know my history at all about where this stuff, that like the first time you show up to a knob meeting, they're like, all right, this is how you make an S hook. I'm going to make one side, then you make one side. And that's like the style that they do, but it's all, you got this beautiful work. But I didn't know where any of it comes from. And now I'm educated enough to know like this is more the style of like Yellen, Whitaker, all his Clay Spencer's thrown in there a lot.
Clay Spencer's definitely in that same vein.
Yeah. And knowing like, oh, there are different veins of how this and different people are drawn to different things. Like I come out here a lot because I like tool making. I really like things with a practical purpose. That not saying that like architectural stuff doesn't have a purpose, because it does. And making
bridges don't have a purpose.
Yeah, absolutely not.
Architects dumb.
Yeah, but like having something that is beautiful and functional is fantastic. I think that like hand tool, I like stuff that is you can make it. It's beautiful. It has a purpose, and it's more broadly accessible. Like anybody can pick up a forged hammer and be like, this is a hammer. I can use it for hammer things. I'm drawn to like game sets. Like Josh Prince has done a really sick chessboard that I think is just the bee's knees. Yep. And I'm like, oh, that's cool because chess is so popular. Anybody can look at this, love chess, and appreciate the beauty of this set, and it has a purpose. With stuff like a decorative shelf or decorative railing, that's so narrow in scope and so specific. Not that it's any less beautiful or any less functional. A lot of that stuff for like your average Joe just kind of fades into the background. They have to be paying attention to see it. So I like coming out here because the Paul and Rob and everybody does. Yeah. Oh my gosh, that's just.
You're not supposed to look at the screen.
I know it's
for the
just
viewer.
It's just so
It's
pretty.
not for you.
I like coming out here because there's tools and you're making, and that was always, you know, when I started getting into this, Alex Steele was just starting to get really popular and getting some traction behind his
tubes
channels. And I was like, oh, cool. I would love to be able to make my own tools because that was a barrier as a broke college kid. Like, oh, I need this tool to do this, but I don't have a welder, or I don't have the capability, and I don't have a striking anvil, and I don't even have a sledgehammer. You know, if I want to do these bigger projects, or if I want to do this specific project, I need a tool for that. And either I don't know how to make it, or I don't have the capability to make it. And we still run into that a lot. Like my buddy Chris does a lot of scroll work, a lot of small stuff. But if we ever want to do bigger stuff, we have to build jigs, or we need specific tools, specific tongs. Tongs is a big one. I don't have anything to hold this, and you can't work if you can't hold it. I really, really like that stuff. And so coming out here, and you're exposed to a completely different style. Yeah. And a completely different capability. Like Rob and Paul looking at, I was like, I don't have a hammer that big. They're like, oh, we can fix that. Yeah. Like we can make that not a problem.
Well, and what I really, really appreciate about Kurt is you can look at his tongs and say, okay, the dude knows how to make tongs. And then you go work at his shop and he has all these punches and jigs and you know, twisting forks and all this stuff. And it's like, okay, this guy's a tool maker. Yeah. And then he's like, all right, guys, I read this book about Kolnick, and I want to do this gate. Yeah. And not only does he have the ability to make the gate, but he can lead 20 dudes into making it. Yeah. And
the grate they made for Sofa last year, before Sofa last year, their big flower.
Yeah, that was the Kolnick gate.
Yes.
Yeah.
Fantastic. Yep. Utterly beautiful.
And it was so fast. I go to once a month, every other month I'll go out there. Yeah. I got to work on it one time. Yeah. Like that is a class project that took a month or less. Yep. And I mean, it is so what I'm saying is, what I'm trying to say is like the fundamentals that they take into the tool making. And it happened last night with Hayden when we were forging. I say it all the time on the podcast. When I first start forging with people, it's get it hot, hit it. Yep. Over time, I'll slowly ramp you up. They have a very different view. You start out correct. Yeah. There is no fixing bad habits later because I won't give you the time to learn and adjust the bad habits. And I totally respect that. And, you know, as soon as Rob was like, hey, try it this way, I was like, okay, I'm done. Hayden, he's smarter. Like genuinely, not like I just showed him how to do that and you're doing it. It was like, no, like Rob is going to teach you a better way. Yeah. I gave you a quick, like, hey man, try it like this. Yep. Where Rob took the time, he heated up his own piece of steel. He said, put the taper in here. Okay, now bring it back. Yeah. What you're doing is you're moving metal both ways. So you have to keep that in mind. And it's like, I didn't take the time to do that. Yeah. And I think it was actually Rob. I talked to him about last night. I think it was Rob that I was talking to about if you go back, and we in America oftentimes will say, well, I'm more inspired by Toby Hickman, or I'm more inspired by Kolnick, or I'm more inspired by, and we pick guys. Yeah. If you go back and look at what we as Americans, and shout out Rob for throwing this out there because it makes so much sense. If we look back at what is blacksmithing, we look at pioneers, dudes who were making nails to build a house. Yeah. we aren't looking at the guys that came over from Germany, established a shop in New Jersey, and stayed there for 200 years.
Yeah.
So when, and I've been doing it recently, going back and looking at like, what's the difference between French forging in the 1600s and English forging in the 1800s?
Yeah.
And there's huge difference in techniques. There's the whole reason I got into it was because I saw a a poll on Instagram that was, do you strike in the Czech tradition or in the English tradition? And it showed the two differences. And Czechs keep their hammers really low, and they, it's like a fast but powerful move, where you have the English ones where they're getting it up to their face and they're, whatever. But I was like, wow, I never thought, like, because what we're taught is there's a right way and there's a wrong way. But obviously there's beautiful Czech blacksmithing work.
Yeah.
And one thing I will say, and I don't want to give any credit to the Nazi regime, okay? Don't hear what I'm not saying. But we lost a huge piece of history in the blacksmithing community when the 1920s to the early 1940s blacksmithing work was obliterated because it was all commissioned by the Nazi regime.
Yeah.
And yes, the swastikas and the iron crosses and the eagles and all that is representative of a terrible, terrible, terrible thing that happened. I get that.
Mm-hmm.
But if you can find photos of that era of blacksmith work, because the blacksmith themselves were more than likely not Nazis.
Yeah,
I'm sure there were some of them.
Yeah.
But
there's a lot of conscription.
There's a lot of conscription. And also, as somebody who had a very, very, very close person to him who was in the Nazi army, I might tell that story sometime. There was also a lot of things that they don't teach you in school, where they would go to families and they would say things like, hey, your family is going to a concentration camp, even though they're German, you can work for their freedom.
Yeah.
You can do these things. So I'm sure a lot of those dudes that made those iron crosses and the stuff like that were doing it against their will. They just had to get something out so that they could get their family out of concentration camps. Yeah. But if you can go back and find pictures of their work, it is flawless.
Yeah.
Beautiful. Perfect. And all of it was destroyed, which probably should have happened.
Yeah.
But I wish it was documented better.
Sure. I think about it a lot in the style of different industries. Like you got your knife making guys, you've got your what I would call like a historic traditional ironwork guys. So like a lot of the guys in my club will avoid using a hammer bigger than 3 pounds.
Mm-hmm.
Right? They have and it's always a cross peen, a very specific way that they use that hammer.
Mm-hmm.
And it's just different than the way, like, very popular in the IBA, you've got a lot of rounding hammers, crazy amount of big, heavy rounding hammers. And then you go and you look at all the farriers who still have, like, schools, right?
Mm-hmm.
You still have trade schools where they're teaching forging for farriers, and they're using very, very light hammers for very, very long handles. And it's just, you have so many different...
Farrier handles are the best.
Hands down. I like a long handle.
Yeah.
There's so many different ways, but the fundamentals are all still the same. Forging is forging, right? You're moving material. The way that you move material, you might use a different part of your hammer that acts like a fuller in this way, or you might use a set hammer, but it's all
right.
It's all the same. And whether you're a tool maker, whether you're a bladesmith, whether you're doing like decorative work, like you're still using those different fundamentals, and any cross training you get in any of those, like practices, any of those specific fields is going to help you.
Well, it's being educated on the because.
Yes. Yeah.
Once again, I talked to Rob a lot last night.
Yeah.
So it's
you were in there for a long time.
But when you're taught, we use this hammer because we use this section of the hammer because it can be the difference between I have to use my cross peen for that because that's the way I was shown.
Yes. And
I can use my rounder because I can kick that angle.
Yeah.
And it's like working it on a fuller.
Yep.
As long as you're taught the because, you can transfer your skills.
Yeah. Yeah.
And there's a lot. IBA is big on the rounding hammer.
Yeah.
We use rounding hammers for just about, I think I have probably 5 or 6 rounding hammers and I have one
Various
peen.
sizes.
Yeah. So, the because is really important. If you were to take rounding hammers away from the IBA,
Sure.
they would still be able to use
Yeah.
any other hammer to get the job done because they understand the because.
They understand why and how to use. Like it's just a variation on the different fundamentals. There's only 6 things you can do to a piece of hot steel.
Yeah.
Like that's what a lot of the old books
Look at
about.
it,
Yep.
touch it,
Yep.
eat
Lick
it.
it.
bop it,
Twist it.
it.
But yeah. So it's been really the amount of people I've met in the last year, 2 years. It's been really, really helpful for me. I started learning in college. I started working in the Fulton County blacksmith shop. It's still in college. I joined Knob in college. They made me president when I was in college, which was a silly thing to do because I was not prepared for that much responsibility.
He's young and he wants action.
That was basically their reasoning. They're like, well, fresh blood. I took about a year. No, I took like 3 or 4 years off of doing any forging outside of the week that I spend in the reared blacksmith shop at Fulton County, because I didn't have time and I was trying to date and marry my wife, and I came back to it. Mostly because Logan was involved. Logan's my brother-in-law. That's a good piece of information to throw out there.
It feels like you were like trying to keep that a secret.
I'm trying to figure out how relevant it is.
Logan's my brother-in-law.
I'm not here on my own merit. It's fine.
Well, so yeah, we can talk about it if you
Sure.
want, but I didn't want this to be it doesn't matter if Logan how you got introduced to us. What you do is cool.
Yeah.
And I like your point of view because you are a perpetual student.
Yeah.
And you just went down, took a class from Larson.
Yep.
You come to the IBA and you force Rob and Paul to stay up until 2 a.m. making hammers with you. You are a perpetual student. And the thing is I think you know more than you let on, not intentionally. And I don't think it's a I don't know anything. I don't think it's a confidence thing. I think that you give credit where credit's due. And if somebody can do anything better than you or differently than you, you want to see it, you want to do it, you want them to walk you through it. And I love that point of view because even Kurt, when I talked to him, you guys are doing an IBA meeting? Yeah, we're going to be it's the last Saturday of every month. Oh, okay.
Yeah. You
going to teach me something? Kurt's, I don't know, between the age of 45 and 89. And he still has that mindset of, and he'll call me. He'll say, hey, do you think your press can do this? Well, how would you do it? Okay. Well, hey, I've got a guy that wants to do this thing on a power hammer, but I think it's more of a press thing. Like Kurt is calling me, who has 1/10 of the experience he does. And not even that. I'm just talking about timeline, not actual time in the forge. He's got thousands % more than me in the forge. I think he said at the ball, he had just hit year 50.
Wild.
And I've been doing it off and on since I was 18, but really solidly I've been blacksmithing for the 4 years I've been here. So he's way outdone me, and he still will call, and he has that perpetual student mindset. When he watched, shout out Jonah Conrad again, go back and watch his demo. I tried to fix this, and I think, I fixed the wrong one. That's why.
Nice.
He called me the next day and he said, I'm going to teach him how to do axes.
Yeah.
And I said, okay. And I thought he was like, he kind of does that sometimes. If he sees a demo somewhere else, he'll teach that. But he'll say, he said, I learned a lot from that boy.
Yeah.
He was really good at what he did. He inspired me. And the axes that they made that Thursday night were so good.
Yeah.
And it's because Kurt did not get up from that entire demonstration from a 21-year-old kid.
Yeah.
Jonah's a grown man. Don't want to call him a kid. But in Kurt's realm of, being near retirement age was like, I got something to learn. And you have that same spirit.
I like that's a very high compliment. I appreciate it. So I had taken some time off from blacksmithing. It was just kind of this thing that I do for a week out of the year. Like my in-laws hadn't, my mother and father-in-law hadn't really realized how big of a part of my life it had been up until that point.
Mm-hmm.
I had taken some time off. I didn't have a shop at my house. I'd moved house, and so it was kind of hard to justify going over to my parents and going into my rinky-dink little thrown together rig. I guess I didn't love it enough to chase it down like that. But my sister started dating this guy, and he
sounds like a jerk.
Yeah. First thing I find out is he works for a company named Coal Ironworks. I was like, oh, that's weird. And she shows me a picture of his dating profile, and it's got him running the nasal on it. And I was like, oh, that's
of course it does.
That's pretty neat.
Yeah. Is it the one with the cigar in his mouth?
I think he had that edited out.
Okay.
Yeah.
That's so Logan.
But I don't know if he'll appreciate that story being on the internet.
Oh, you think Logan listens to this podcast?
No.
I don't know. He might.
He might. I doubt it, but he might. So my sister's like, oh, I'm seeing this guy. He's
Oh yeah, it's on the internet. It's
Yeah.
fine. You can talk about it. He's posted it. I think that's his phone contact too. I think
it might.
Yeah, when he calls me, I think that's the picture that comes up.
Yeah. She started dating this guy. She's like, he's a bladesmith. And I was like, how did you manage to meet somebody in the industry that I didn't introduce you to?
Mm-hmm.
Like, this is a weird coinky dink. Like this is seemingly fated.
Mm-hmm.
Anyway, they start dating, they get engaged. He invites me. I was like, oh, you should really come see the shop sometime. So I came out once. We worked on some stuff. Got to watch the nasal run a little bit. That was terrifying.
Mm-hmm.
And he's like, you should move your shop over to your house. I said, yeah, but that's going to be a lot of work. And like, if I was a little reluctant to get back into metalworking because I was like, I need to have something to show for my time in this. I want to be better than I am. And I feel a lack of capability for the amount of years that I've been exposed to this, right? And that's
right there with you, brother.
That's part of the reason I come to so many things is because I want to get better as fast as possible. I want to dedicate time to this and be as good as my length of exposure to this deserves, right? Yeah. It feels and part of it is like the just jump in and do it, right? Like that's the best way to learn is the best way to get over a roadblock in your forging experience is just try it and figure out how you're going to fail.
Yeah.
That's why I go to so many things. I mean, they got married in September, and Sofa was the next week.
Yeah, it was.
And so Logan just like
the worst month of my life.
Oh my gosh, monsoon.
It wasn't actually the worst month of my life.
Because Evan got married that week too.
Evan got married. Logan got married. Nathan had a kid. Both my shipping guys, one full-time shipping guy and the other guy was a floater, quit, and my assembly guy quit.
Yeah. So you and I had met like twice. I'd seen you here one time, and I saw you at the wedding.
Mm-hmm.
And Logan's going on his honeymoon. And he's like, "Well, here's Francis's number. Just text him.
Yep.
You'll see him at the show at Quad State. You'll be fine." I was like, "Great. Sounds great." And then I texted you, and we hung out that whole weekend, and I got to meet that was the weekend I met all of the IBA guys.
Mm-hmm.
And like it's just such a welcoming environment.
Mm-hmm.
And they're more than happy to throw you straight into something. Like they'll teach you the correct way to do it.
They're tired. They need people to help.
Yeah.
Because they get pulled for so many people come up and they're like, "Well, I've been thinking about making a hammer."
Yeah.
And then for a long time, you would notice after a couple heats, they were doing the work.
Yep.
And the person was learning. Don't get me wrong. The
Yes,
person
yeah.
was like paying attention to technique, but when you do that 6 times a day and you're making 6 hammers with people, it's like, I think they actually have a rule now. They have like a time limit, and they'll direct, but
yeah,
they will only strike a couple times.
Yep. And it's because it's exhausting. If you know what you're doing, you can get a hammer done in an hour. You know, you can get a hammer forged out if you know what you're doing and you have a good striker.
Right.
Like, I went to Warriors Way last March, which was also rainy, and Rob and Paul were there, and I knew Rob and Paul were there, and I was stoked because I had watched them interact with people.
There was like 6 straight events that we went to that should have been rained out, but they didn't cancel.
Yeah.
Bad.
But I see them, and I was stoked. I was like, cool. I'm gonna go try not to bother these people, but also learn a bunch of stuff.
I'm a bother them.
And I'm a bother them. I bought a 5-pound billet of 4140 from you to forge a 5-pound rounding hammer. And Rob very, very kindly agreed at the time. And then it took us 6 hours because I was terrified. I was terrified of getting hit in the head with the hammer. I was terrified of I was just scared of everything. Yeah. Which is pretty common.
To be fair, yes.
Yeah.
Rob is terrifying to watch strike.
Yeah.
And until I've held a tool for Rob, I think, like one time, but to be that close, until you really understand he's not gonna miss.
Yep.
And
also like how to position your body out of the way. Like there's a whole thing to watching Dan and Paul and Rob all strike and direct for that weekend. You watch Paul and Rob together. There is a 2-inch gap between where that hammer's coming down and where Paul's head is.
And there's no words and there's no eye contact.
Nope. There's just
with Dan, he does this, like he'll set it and he moves
his head out of the way. Yeah. That's the cue for when to strike, is you just bop it to the left for a second and then put it back when you're
Paul places the tool and Rob starts striking. Paul hasn't the 3 seconds to get it figured out.
It's terrifying, but it's magic.
Yeah.
And you look at it, you're like, I looked at it and I was like, I want to do that. I mean, that first night at SOFA, I watched Andrew Larson make like 3 hammers in a row. I sat 2 feet from his striking anvil, saying no words, didn't introduce myself, nothing, just sat there staring for like 3 hours watching him make hammers with Paul and Rob. And it's like, this is really cool. I've never seen anything like this. This is very much not my club style of forging. And then I'm like, I think I want a striking anvil. I think I ought to get one of those. And my buddy Chris, God bless him, he's like, I don't want to work that hard. Like I have no interest in tool building.
But I get that too.
Yeah.
I 100% get that.
Yeah, like it's just not his area of interest. He makes incredible other stuff. This year he made a really sick set of 12 identical like garden lantern hangers, and they're fantastic. And I was like, come on, we'll make some tongs this weekend. You need some for this, that, and the other. He's like, I don't want to do that. I was like, well, I'll make them for you then. I was like, whatever you would. He's like, it's worth my time to go buy them from somebody that will make them well. Then, and that's just he doesn't want to do tool making. He's not interested in it. I was like, all right, I'll just keep track of what you think a good pair of tongs is worth, and then I'll start making them, and we'll have that conversation in a couple months.
Yeah,
but it's just fantastic. And then I got to come to the Cole Hammer Inn. I got to hang out with a bunch of people that I never met before. All different kinds of there's the chaos of the Cole Hammer Inn Open Forge Day. Incredibly overwhelming, but like it's a special kind of like atmosphere to be in and to get to watch the demos.
Can I tell you that this year, I don't think I've said this publicly, but this year might have been my favorite year for the Hammer Inn.
Yeah.
Specifically because I was in the other room the entire time.
Yeah.
Because I was selling raffle tickets and merch and stuff like that.
Yeah.
And also because we had just announced Nathan's departure. So it was now people were asking me questions, and so I didn't have time to go over
there and stare at the chaos.
Yeah. So this was I was oblivious to it. I was just hanging out, talking to people. It was cool. Yeah. Hope everybody had a good time, because I did not see if you did or not.
It's fantastic. I mean, getting to let's see, last year was Brett doing the Crucible Steel, and then Jason Knight doing his knife out of the Crucible Steel, and then Dave Custer and watching. That's the other thing that like I was never prepared either, because I didn't realize how important geometry was, or how much I should have been doing 'Cause for a really long time, blacksmithing was art to me. Like you vibe it out.
Yeah.
Like I don't need a jig. I don't need to measure things.
Or a stencil or yeah.
I just do it, right? And it makes itself, right? You're just. But no, if you want repeatable results, you kind of have to measure and do have know a little bit of geometry. But watching Dave Custer make a wall hanger and the way he approached it, I didn't do any formal education. I'm just trying to piece this stuff together on the internet. And after a certain point, you need to start paying attention to that kind of thing if you want to develop as a blacksmith. Geometry is important. But just the exposure to different kinds, different styles, and different people and the way they approach, and you get to see how they do it, and then you get to say, well, okay, I think I understand why they do it that way. I think I would do it a slightly different. Like I think I would do this instead.
I wouldn't have done it that way.
I don't know why you want to work that hard.
Get out.
But having Kurt as a resource and having Logan and my sister as a resource to be able to come here and being friends with you guys now, and that being a wonderful blessing
Friends
in
is
my
a
life.
strong word.
Is it?
Yeah.
You're like, I talk to you more than I talk to like half of the people that live in my town. It's just a wonderful, like, when you guys talk about getting involved and the community building aspect of this, I keep wanting to call it practice, like forging, right?
Yeah.
Like it's
art.
Yeah, it's really important. Like getting out, seeing how other people do it, paying attention to that. Because it's notoriously difficult for me to sit still during a demo. But just getting out there and seeing the different ways it's done, evaluating it and thinking, okay, cool, I'm gonna go try this now. Like that's a really, really important part. Corbin's got that in spades. Corbin sees something, he's like, all right, I'm gonna go try that. One of the best blacksmiths I know, Derek Bliss up in Traverse City, Michigan. He's got that. He's got that in spades. I saw him at Maba Hammerin' last year, and Pete Braspinix was demonstrating, and he watched Pete do some forge welding and tenoning and like keying stuff. And as soon as that demo was over, Derek's like, "All right, I'm gonna go do a couple variations on this." Like, it's there. That is a piece of wiring that I don't necessarily have as much. I like watching the demos and I like seeing different concepts. But it's exposure therapy. I tend to ease into things more than dive.
Yeah.
I wanna watch the video on YouTube about 30 times before I'm prepared to go and jump on it. But that's the best way to advance. Like you cannot get better.
There's a healthy part of both.
Yes. Yeah.
Because a lot of times if you're unprepared, if you're now, this goes completely against what I just said about forging with people, and I always just have them swing and hit stuff.
Yeah.
But there is an amount of, if you go into it unprepared, that you are such a failure at your project, you lose all confidence. That's bad.
Yeah.
But there's also over preparing to where if you don't do it perfectly the first time, you lose your confidence because everything I read said that this should have worked.
Yep.
You know? So I do think that there is a, like, watch the video a couple times.
Yep.
Question the technique, slow it down in the parts you're confused about, but you do have to just go do it because what the YouTube video can't teach you is muscle memory.
Yes.
And there is a lot of things that I do that I can't explain because it's just muscle memory.
Yep.
And it's the same thing as Wayne Gretzky being one of the worst hockey coaches to ever touch the ice.
Yeah.
He couldn't explain what he was doing on the ice
just so
because it was just natural. Oh, I'm going to get it to that guy. Well, why? Because that's where my arms went when I knew I had to pass it, and it just picked him.
I watched
subconscious at that point.
I watched Corbin. I listened to Corbin teaching Hayden how to fix a rhombus last night. I listened to him like lay out the steps. All right, I'm going to hit it here, and then I'm gonna do this these corners that I just made. I'm going to knock those, and then this, that, and the other. And I like listened to him, and I was like, that makes no sense to me. But then when I'm sitting there thinking, like, well, if I have a rhombus, I do this, and then I smooth here, and I go that.
I do the same thing.
I guess if you asked me to explain step by step how to fix a rhombus, that's pretty close. But I wouldn't even think about it. I just do it.
Yeah.
Which is very, very funny. But it's very important. There's an aspect to knowing why something didn't work. It's very important. Like you can go out and you can do it, but if you don't know why that thing happened, it's also really hard to learn from that. I run into that a lot because I'm notoriously bad at forge welding with borax.
Well, so yes, it is. You need to know why, but that's where what do they call it? Peer review. Peer review is so important.
Yep.
It is wonderful to have a mentor. It is wonderful to have a shop you go to for instruction, but it is also very important to have somebody that you're learning alongside.
It's important that there's other people in the room. Like that's been a lot of my my stopgap is because I've been doing a lot of this by myself. I've been looking on you, and then you can absolutely get better watching YouTube, going out to the working on your own. Getting hours in is incredibly important. Having other people around you who you are comfortable taking advice and criticism for, because it's very important that you don't get butthurt every single time that somebody said you're doing that funny,
right?
And here's a way I think you could do that easier.
Yeah,
like you have to have a either one other person or a group of people that are comfortable, and that are comfortable telling you when you're doing something goofy, and that you're comfortable taking that advice from.
Yeah,
because it's way too easy to be kind of egotistic and like just I do it this way because this is the way I do it, and you're not going to get better like that. No. You'll continue to be bad in the ways that you are bad,
and that's in life as well as forging.
Yeah.
That's just a life lesson you need to learn: is put your ego aside, listen to what people are saying about you. If one person calls you a jerk, they're probably wrong. If 10 people call you a jerk, you got to start listening. You know, Chris, I think we're getting to our time limit.
Okay.
But anytime you're in town, let us know.
Sure.
I'll let you host episodes.
Yeah.
Like I said,
I don't know if you want that.
Need a break.
Yeah.
So check out Knob. It's North Ohio Blacksmith, right? Northwest Ohio Blacksmith. Check out SOFA. Check out IBA. Check out the CBA. Check out BAM and Llama and all of the groups that are close to you. It's important to get connected. Hopefully you enjoyed this one, guys. I suspect a part 2 coming.
Okay.
Because
I did find those axes.
You're a gentleman. Oh, those are the Kurt Fehrenbach class axes. Yeah, they did a great job.
Yep. I'm gonna plug Knob Hammering really fast.
Yeah, plug the Knob Hammering.
First weekend in May, 1st, 2nd, and 3rd, we have an event. It's open to the public. You don't have to be a member of Knob to come to the Hammer-In. You do have to register because there's important liability stuff in there and payment stuff in there and dinner stuff in there. We do a
because you guys do it at someone's house, so their insurance needs to know, right?
Our Hammer-In is at Auglaize Village in Defiance, Ohio. It's right on the corner with Indiana, so it's really, really easy for you guys to get to. It's right on 24 there.
Yep.
But if you're coming and you want to we have a banquet on Saturday night along with Iron in the Hat raffle and an auction.
Is there camping?
There is camping. You can show up. You can pitch a tent. You can bring your trailer. I can't give you electricity for it, but you can bring it. We're doing a hog roast. If you want to eat, please make sure that you have your registration to me before the week beforehand, because we got to know for numbers. I want to make sure that everybody that comes can eat. 1 hog,
2 hog, 3 hog. That's what you need to know.
1 hog current. Yeah, if you want to eat a whole hog.
Well, no, that's what I'm saying. Is like you need to know how many hogs to buy. Good Lord, get us out of here, Evan. I'm over it. He's been holding the sass back all this whole time. I'm not putting up with it on my own podcast.
I'm just being polite. It's fine.
You come and disrespect my own show.
In your own house.
In my own house.